Ladies, what is a question a man should never ask, regardless of how tempting it is? When you're in a bad mood, are you on your period? Growing up as the only boy in a household full of girls headed by my no-nonsense mom in the 70s taught me that was not a joking matter. I was probably 10 or 11 and had just learned what periods were. My buddies and I were full of our newfound knowledge and had decided that anytime a girl in our class was upset or angry, she was on her period. We mostly kept this information to ourselves and didn't dare share it with the girls because they would tell the teachers. My mom worked as a teller in our local bank and had to work late one evening a week in addition to every Friday. On her late evening one week, she came home a bit more frazzled than usual and was barking orders while she got dinner ready. I was standing in the kitchen and she told me to get something perfectly normal for her, a pan or some seasoning or something, and I mumbled, "Somebody got her period. They say you never hear the bullet with your name on it." I don't know about that, but I never saw or heard the hand that made contact with the back of my head. We don't use menstruation as an excuse in this house and we don't make fun of it. Is that clear? First date with some jerk who didn't act like a jerk when we were messaging and talking over the phone. We meet in person, go out to dinner, then he asks me out loud at the restaurant, "How many guys have you been with?" Waiter was kind enough to assume I wanted out and immediately brought me my own check to get out of there since he heard the question as he brought us our food. What did I do wrong? This one is some real idiocy. If you don't want to communicate, why are you in a relationship? This isn't kindergarten, you aren't 3. Pouting and stomping your feet 'cause I ate the last cookie. We're adults, just talk. Use your words. I hate to bring it to that level, but it's seriously unreasonable. Men are not psychic. No, we don't know what we did. If you can't address it quickly and as head-on as possible, we won't know and you're just going to be mad, and creating this tension is childish. Talk, never stop communicating. I am a man in his mid-40s, been married for years, and I have daughters. I finally just stopped asking women questions, honestly. I have a tad bit of social awkwardness to me, just enough for it to slightly stand out, and man, has it gotten me in trouble from seemingly innocent questions. And I don't look weird or anything. I'm a gym goer and am in shape and have played hockey my whole life, still to this day. A why question that could potentially imply an age is out of the question. We're in high school, creeper weirdo, even though they were all Beta Kappa Kia or whatever on a river trip, all in front of my daughters and wife. I had a last straw moment about a year ago where I'm just shutting up here on out and not engaging in anything with women anymore. Had too many bad experiences or weird faces from very innocent small talk. I'm a business owner, so I talk with a strong tone and I'm considered more on the masculine side, so maybe that's a part of it. First date with some jerk who didn't act like a jerk when we were messaging and talking over the phone. We meet in person, go out to dinner, then he asks me out loud at the restaurant, "How many guys have you been with?" Waiter was kind enough to assume I wanted out and immediately brought me my own check to get out of there since he heard the question as he brought us our food. Asking a woman their relationship status, and then asking for their number if they say they are single ... like. Just because I am single does not mean that I am interested in you. When I once told a guy I'm not interested, he got irritated with me. "Common man, you single? What's the deal? Don't be like that ... Do you NTB like what? Like ... have choices and preferences as a woman? Do women poop? Like, stop asking. It's immature and puts us in a super shitty situation. You're not one of those feminazis, are you? I'm a feminist, not a misandrist if that's what you're asking. This is just incredibly belittling in the first place. Many women are very passionate about women's rights and women's suffrage. It's not a hobby, it's not a game, so acting like it is incredibly disrespectful and may get you slapped. In my experience, my BF's brother asked me if I was a virgin. It wasn't a conversation starter, more so he was prying about my relationship with his brother. So that is something no one should ask, and I was completely caught off guard with that. Recently, a group of us from work were at lunch, and the only lady in the group was slightly sad nobody had noticed he'd lost weight over the prior month. As the old man of the group, I explained that we don't want to be seen as unprofessional by initiating a conversation about that. I told her that if she wanted to share her pride in it, that we as work friends would certainly provide encouragement, but that we really can't begin that discussion. How many men have you been with before me? For lots of people, even an answer of one is too much. Lots of tender little flowers running around, so mad that there was another guy there before them. The great thing about sex is that there's plenty of it. It's not a finite number of times someone can get down. And nobody comes wrapped in sterile plastic. Life and love are messy. The best of it is something you're going to want to eat over the sink. As a man, I just learned that you should not ask a single mother if she had a cesarean or natural birth. Apparently, my question was interpreted as "Are you tight?" which really was not my intended question. Don't you think you're acting too much like your mom? My wife told me to let her know if she ever started hating on the youth like her mom. One day she was complaining about Skibidi toilet or something and I said, "Wife, we had annoying orange." Dumb humor is dumb. Remind me to show you some of our generation's TF to engineer brain rot. Kids will be kids. We were the same. It's different. That was at least clever. Screaming into a mic with the face of an orange was clever. More than whatever this toilet thing is, you're acting like your mother. My mom once congratulated a secretary in a clinic she worked at on Saturdays because she had a big belly and was using a maternity shirt. The girl just sheepishly thanked and didn't say more. Conversation didn't continue because my mother had a patient waiting. Fast forward like a month or two and she asked around for the girl since she hadn't seen her in a while and another secretary told her the girl died. Turns out she wasn't pregnant, she had stomach cancer and that caused the bloating. Everyone else knew but were too polite to tell my mom when she congratulated the girl. My mom cried about it. She felt horrible for that. And that's how I learned never to ask someone if they're pregnant. When I was a teenager, I worked in a department store. I worked in different departments to fill in and ended up in the children's department one day. Now, at the time, I was 16 years old and very much looked 16 years old and maybe a size 10. Not super skinny, but not fat either, no belly to speak of and an athletic build. An older couple came in looking for a gift for a relative who had just had a baby. I spent 15 to 20 minutes helping them out. It was a completely normal transaction. I rang them up and, as they were about to leave, the woman looks at me and goes, "Honey, when are you due?" Her husband gave her this look of WTF. I kind of stammered because I was caught so off guard and just said, "I'm not pregnant." "I'm only 16 years old." The woman turned the deepest shade of scarlet and ran off, not even apologizing. The whole encounter was so very bizarre. I'm still not entirely sure what was going through her head. "Are you going to dye your hair? Because I can see gray and it makes you look old." No Dumba *SS. I'm not dyeing my hair for you or anyone else. The way that I look has absolutely nothing to do with you. Body count. Don't ask me what you don't want to know. If it's a question you don't want to answer, then you're not someone I want to be with. It's not an early question to ask a woman, but it's fair to ask before any intimate encounters happen. There is nothing wrong with people wanting to be with others who share a similar history or views on sex. Everyone is allowed to have preferences. Shaming someone for body count is one thing, but just using that information to assess compatibility is fine. Personally, I don't care as much about the exact number as much as a general range. Up to 10-ish, I'm not even going to think twice about that. If the answer is 50 for this year, then I know we don't share compatible views on sex and I'm going to butt out. Never ask a woman if she lives alone. I asked that once because I had just got my own apartment and that was something to talk about. Nope, she did not take it that way, lols. Don't ask why a woman doesn't have kids yet, for a flurry of reasons too. I don't have kids because I don't want them, don't plan to, and will be getting my tubes tied soon. Yeah, not that deep, but I've deeply offended people because they asked and didn't like my answer. Although I am way more kind in how I say it than I am here, as at the same time, I am extremely aware of the women who can't have kids. Which we all know is the bigger reason you do not ask. Not really a question, but commenting on weight loss, gain. Even if it's meant to be positive, "Oh my God, you've lost so much weight, you look great," isn't really a compliment when it's because of a health issue, depression, or eating disorder. Where's my hug? We don't owe you that, even if we might have just hugged someone else. Did you finish? Trust me, if you have to ask, you didn't do the job, and 99% of us will just lie anyway. Telling the truth is awkward or even dangerous.